A teenager leads the NHL in scoring, tying Wayne Gretzky's record after just 15 games. His takeover began in the Bay Area, far from hockey's spotlight. How did Macklin Celebrini surge from San Jose Junior Sharks prodigy to an overnight NHL superstar, dominating every level along the way? The answer is not what most fans think, and the roots of this rise reveal much more than pure talent. When Rick Celebrini accepted a new role with the Golden State Warriors, the family packed up their lives in Vancouver and headed south to California. For Macklin, just 13 at the time, the move meant trading the familiar rinks of British Columbia for the unknown ice of the Bay Area. Hockey in San Jose did not carry the same weight as it did back home, but Macklin wasted no time making his mark. He joined the San Jose Junior Sharks U14 team for the 2019 to 2020 season, and he faced older, bigger competition. In just 54 games, he piled up 94 points, 49 goals, and 45 assists, setting a new standard for youth hockey in the region. Rick's work with NBA athletes gave Macklin a front row seat to a different kind of professional preparation, and on the ice, it was Macklin's own drive that stood out. Teammates remember a quiet confidence, a kid who let his play do the talking. The Junior Sharks program, usually a stopover for California hopefuls, became the unlikely launch pad for a player whose talent was impossible to ignore. The Sharks connection was more than a coincidence. It was the first step in a story that would come full circle in ways no one could have predicted. Macklin Celebrini arrived in Chicago with a reputation, but what he did with the steal turned him into a national headline. At just 16, he did not just keep up with older, stronger players, he outpaced them all. Night after night, Celebrini found ways to tilt the ice, piling up points against the best junior competition in the country. In 50 games, he racked up 86 points, 46 goals, and 40 assists, leading the entire USHL in both categories. His knack for the dramatic showed up on special teams too, with 21 power play goals and 8 game winners, numbers rarely seen from a player his age. On February 18th, 2023, against the USA Hockey National Team Development Program, Celebrini erupted for 5 goals in a single game, sending scouts and analysts scrambling for the record books. By season's end, he was named USHL Rookie of the Year. His point total was the highest ever recorded by a player under 17. Coaches described him as a cerebral tactician, a playmaker who could also finish like a pure sniper. The Chicago Steel became the proving ground where Celebrini's quiet confidence met a bigger spotlight. Every week, his dominance grew more obvious, cementing his status as the top prospect in junior hockey and making his next move to college hockey feel less like a leap and more like a logical next step. Boston University brought a new test, older opponents, tighter checking, higher stakes. Macklin Celebrini responded by rewriting what was possible for a freshman. In 38 games, he piled up 64 points, splitting them evenly between goals and assists. No other player in the country matched his points per game pace. Every night, he faced defenders who had years of NCAA experience, but he found ways to break through, whether with a quick release from the slot or a perfectly timed pass on the power play. On April 12, 2024, the Hobey Baker Award went to Celebrini, making him the youngest winner in the history of college hockey. The honor did not come from highlight reels alone. In the Hockey East Conference, he led with 44 points in just 23 games, an average of nearly 2 points per night. Coaches across the league started game planning specifically for him, but the results rarely changed. At the face-off dot, he won 190 draws, placing him among the league's best, and showing a level of two-way responsibility that is rare for any player, let alone a freshman. By the end of the season, he held both the Hockey East Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year awards, a double that only 3 others had ever achieved. Scouts and analysts stopped asking if his junior numbers were a fluke. Against some of the toughest competition in college hockey, Celebrini had proven he was more than a scorer. He was a true center, trusted in every situation, and ready for whatever came next. Draft night in Las Vegas brought an electric sense of anticipation. The San Jose Sharks, holding the first overall pick for the first time in franchise history, stepped onto the stage with a single name on their minds. Macklin Celebrini, just 18, heard his name called and pulled on the teal sweater he had once worn as a teenager in the Bay Area. The moment was more than a celebration of talent. It was a public declaration that the Sharks were building their future around him. The front office wasted no time. By July 6, 2024, Celebrini had signed his 3-year entry-level contract, the standard for top picks, but anything but routine for a club in search of a new identity. The deal set the clock ticking on his NHL career and signaled a new era for San Jose. General manager Mike Grier and the hockey operations staff spoke in measured tones to the press. The message was clear. This was the player expected to transform a rebuilding roster into a contender. Expectations were immediate and immense. Analysts debated how soon Celebrini would step into a top-line role, how his skill set would translate against the world's best, and whether he could handle the weight that comes with being called a franchise cornerstone. For Celebrini, the transition from prospect to professional was not just a change in title. It was the start of a partnership, player, and organization, both searching for something bigger than the sum of their parts. The amateur chapter had closed. The NHL spotlight was waiting. Opening night in St. Louis, Macklin Celebrini did not wait for the game to come to him. 7 minutes into his NHL debut, he found the back of the net, then added an assist before the final horn. The Sharks lost in overtime, but Celebrini's poise under pressure was impossible to ignore. Over the course of his rookie season, he kept finding ways to produce, whether it was threading a pass through traffic or outworking veterans along the boards. By season's end, he had tallied 63 points in 70 games, including 25 goals, and his name landed among the finalists for the Calder Trophy. The pace never looked forced. Every shift, he played like he belonged, turning the doubts of October into distant echoes by spring. For San Jose, the question was no longer if he could hang in the NHL, but just how far he could take them. By November 7th, 2025, Macklin Celebrini had rocketed to the top of the NHL scoring charts, collecting 23 points in just his first 15 games of the season. That total did not just lead the league, it put him alongside Wayne Gretzky and Steve Yzerman, the only other teenagers in NHL history to reach that mark so quickly. The hockey world took notice. Every night, Celebrini's blend of speed, vision, and poise drove the San Jose Sharks offense, drawing comparisons to some of the game's greatest young stars. With 60 points by the end of December and a 13-game point streak that tied Nathan MacKinnon's teen record, his case for international recognition became impossible to ignore. As the new year approached, Celebrini found his name in the conversation for Team Canada for the 2026 Olympic roster, a rare feat for a player not yet out of his teens. The kid from Vancouver, once an unknown in the Bay Area, now stood on hockey's global stage. Today, Macklin Celebrini is not just rewriting rookie records, he is redefining what is possible for the next generation of the National Hockey League stars. As hockey's youth movement accelerates, his story proves that extraordinary talent can emerge from anywhere. The question now is who is ready to follow and who gets left behind. Share your thoughts below.